Hey there, and welcome back to Mutant Year Zero. My name is Pete, and today, in this in-between holidays video, we complete another episode of our Iron Mutant playthrough of the Seed of Evil DLC. Yes, I managed to record a bit of footage in the few days I was at home in September, so our search for the renegade Goran will continue a little earlier than planned, but I doubt anyone will complain about that. Now, in the last episode, we visited the Underark after completing another one of Pripp's side missions, and we have actually now unlocked the location where Goran is supposed to be hiding. Before we go there, however, let's take another quick tour through the Ark, starting with some upgrades at Deltas.
I heard about the other Ark you discovered. Do you think what happened there will happen here? Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world, huh?
Right, now last episode we acquired the Wraith, a silent version of the Rambino, and an absolute game changer for silent approaches. That means upgrading it to level 3 is of course a no-brainer, and we can also increase its already pretty solid range a bit further and improve crit damage as well.
Until next time!
And that's already all we need to do at this point, but before we get going, let's listen to Pripp's robot, Iridia, and then Pripp himself.
Actual customers. Forgive me for my exuberance. People have stopped coming to the bar. They're just standing around outside, smiling. Good luck in the zone. I hope you die, so I can heal you.
I'm worried, Stalkers. I see more and more customers walking in here acting cheerful and carefree. I don't like it. I think it's linked to these red vines. Whatever you're doing out there, you better hurry. Safe travels.
Stalkers, if there ever was a time to save the day, this is it. It's weird, but the more weeds come up, the more people are acting smiley and happy. Smiling in the Ark? Can you believe that shit? I don't like it. I'm depending on you guys. Do me proud.
So it is time to head back out into the zone, and today we are taking Bormin, Pharaoh, and Selma. Very importantly, Selma has iron legs instead of Treecaster equipped, and also brings a grenade and the appropriate headwear along. Pharaoh's loadout, meanwhile, is unchanged. She remains the core of our squad in almost every situation, and Bormin is also finally back in the rotation. With the herpes mask, he can now get sneak attack criticals at will, and that is also why he gets to use the new and improved Wraith. And with all of that, we are heading out, but not to find Goran just yet. Instead, we can tackle another side mission at the House of Bones, where we are looking to take out the Tanker Twins. Alright, so once again we do not start at the regular map entrance, but a few meters up ahead, in front of the gate that leads into the main area. There is no loot anywhere behind us, but for a change, this map actually has a decent amount of it, enough at least so that we can finally unlock the Skinflint achievement for collecting 600 units of scrap. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Of course, as always, we do have some enemies to take care of, with the first one actually patrolling the area right in front of us, next to the entrance to the school, because, as you might remember from our previous mission here, that is what the House of Bones once was.
Some more?
This enemy is just an isolated marauder though, and therefore no threat at all.
You don't know who you're messing with.
You did it, kid.
Now at this point we can continue what I like to call the loot loop, and on this map that is actually a rather lengthy endeavor, at least if you don't want to get yourself into any premature trouble with the rest of the enemies. Speaking of which, let us take note of the fact that we have a pyro watching over on the left side here, and because they are standing right on top of the only ladder leading up to them, we might have to get creative here in just a moment. Before we do that though, we can continue to ransack the school, which has thankfully replenished some of its loot, and while we do so, we also take note of a medbot patrolling the floor above us, but as long as we remain downstairs it won't notice us. Now we do have to play things a little bit more carefully with the next enemy here, Hot Sauce, who is actually already one of the two tanker twins. As you can see though, hot sauce is a bit of a meat shield, so we will not engage just yet, but we can take note of the fact that they seem to be very content with isolating themselves as well, so I think a good opportunity should present itself sooner or later. For now though, all we can do is wait until the exit is clear and then sneak our way outside as well, because as you can imagine, we want to get to that upper floor and with that onto the high ground. In order to get there safely though, a bit more patience is required, not only for hot sauce to venture off, but also for the medbot to pass us by. Otherwise, climbing up the ladder here would surely lead to detection, and since we have only taken out one enemy so far, likely also to our untimely demise. And so all of that, the distribution of loot on the map, the size of the area and the relative scarcity of enemies make this a fairly long-winded side mission, at least if you are going about it with a completionist approach. As a matter of fact, this side mission actually takes up more time in this video than the main mission, which may or may not include us encountering Goran, but don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. In fact, that length is a clear sign that this mission requires us to be a bit more strategic about our approach than usual, and at the end of the day, that is what this game is all about. Nonetheless, it is now finally time for some action again, and taking out patrolling enemies first is always a good idea so that they don't get in our way later. So with everyone in position, let us now ambush the medbot. The first shot goes to Salma, who is currently not hidden, but also doesn't need to be. Relying purely on sneak attack criticals would not get us the kill anyway. Both crit and EMP stun are also not guaranteed here, so we are going to ignore those. Pharaoh's crit, meanwhile, is guaranteed, but still not enough, so we need to follow things up with a bear smash. And with the action we still have left afterwards, we can then go for the kill. Right, so at this point we want to make one more small adjustment that I forgot about earlier, and that is to give Salma something fireproof to wear, as that pyro we encountered earlier is now going to be our next enemy.
Regroup, now!
Now, unfortunately, that pyro is in a rather isolated position, so, as I said a few minutes ago, we have to get a bit creative here. To get us started though, a simple sneak attack critical from Bormin works just fine. Now at this point, the enemy is aware of us, and despite not changing positions, they are now considered to be in cover. That means we cannot simply follow things up with a shot from Pharaoh, but instead have to get her airborne first to land a guaranteed hit.
Give up now and I'll go easy on ya.
Salma can then make use of her iron legs to get up close and personal, and sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't, but this time we do actually get the roof to collapse here, so the killing blow is quickly dealt.
You did it, kid.
Full disclosure though, I have also experienced that the roof remains in place.
Get your asses over here.
In that case, the kill would of course still be guaranteed with a regular hit, but the pyro will of course drop the Molotov and that will cause fire damage, at least if Salma is too close and not wearing the appropriate suit of armor. With the high ground secured, it is now also time to finally attack Hot Sauce, and this is why we have both Bormin and Salma in our squad, as we can now unleash double twitch shots from above, both times for guaranteed criticals. And this will actually allow us to take out Hot Sauce in one single turn, and to do so completely silently. And there we go, Pharaoh is guaranteed the crit, and with that the kill.
You don't know who you're messing with.
Now that was a good kill.
Right, and after grabbing the kill and the loot from it, we will stay on the top floor just a little while longer, as we actually have two more enemies that can easily be taken out from here. They are grouped very closely together, but due to the height difference we can take them out one after the other. The first target is the hunter, and a critical hit from Pharaoh here is enough so that Salma can follow things up with just a regular one. And with Bormin still hidden, he can now do exactly the 13 points of damage that we still need.
And stay down.
follow me.
So, as you can see, there is another enemy over here, a pyro, standing just a few meters below where the hunter was just a few seconds ago. And thanks to the high ground and the cover, we are more or less guaranteed 3 critical hits against them, which is, again, more than we need to take them out.
I'm the hero, you're the zero. Mess with the wrong fox. Get over here.
Now, at this point, we actually only have 2 more enemies left on the map, and unsurprisingly, one of the 2 is the second tanker twin. Stats-wise, Torch Job is more or less identical to Hot Sauce. This time, however, we also have a hunter to account for and no high ground, so the fight might just be a little bit more tricky. All in all, though, it is nothing that we couldn't handle, so let's start things off here by simply blasting Torch Job in the face with Bormin. Following that, we can now use Salma's grenade, which, boosted by her headgear and various perks, now does 14 points of damage. And that brings Torch Job down to a very convenient 15 hit points, which is just the amount that Pharaoh can take care of with her Wings of the Sniper Gunslinger combination, while also taking out the Hunter in the process.
I am the beautiful. Give up now and I'll go easy on ya.
Not too shabby.
And there we are, the tanker twins are defeated, the House of Bones is cleared once more, and we can help ourselves to a few more goodies in the area.
Let's see if we got something useful.
Right, so very fittingly, after defeating Hot Sauce and Torch Job, we have just found the Flamer shooting fire bullets, and in that sense very similar to that other gun we found a few episodes back shooting EMP bullets. All in all, though, I do consider that other gun a little bit more useful, while the use cases for this one here do seem rather limited, at least at this stage in the game. On the bright side, though, we have just managed to collect over 600 units of scrap in this DLC, and therefore we now unlock the Skinflint achievement. A few more bits and pieces can still be collected though, and as you can already kind of see, most of them are in areas that we would normally not travel to if we just moved from enemy to enemy, so I feel like, especially on this map, a certain level of thoroughness is required. By the way, the fact that we have not yet spent a single one of those 600 units of scrap that we have collected, and will likely also never do so, I think that already tells you a good story about the worth of that resource at this stage in the game. But who knows, maybe before the end of the series we will completely empty out Iridia's store just because we can. In any case, the House of Bones is now cleared, and with that the third of Pripp's side missions completed, which means we can finally move on to the Frozen City and hopefully locate Goran.
I'm starting to think some of our people in the Ark got replaced by plants. It's really hard to tell unless you're up close. One of you could be a pod right now.
You saying I'm a plant? You think a plant can make fur this soft? What you want? You might be a plant accusing me of being a plant to throw us off your plantness.
Sorry for the accusation. Stalkers got each other's backs. What happens to you, happens to me.
Right, so we may or may not have some trust issues starting to develop here. Luckily though, it also looks like we are nearing the end of our journey. Now, our first target in this area is the pod spawner, which is also why we are leaving the pod burner be for the moment, otherwise we will not be able to actually target the spawner.
Looks like the center of this dead town. Looks like a party for the podgals too. It's like they're waiting for something.
And again, I mentioned this in the last episode as well, the ambush button here only appears because the burner is still close by, otherwise we would not be able to attack, at least not from here. To take out the spawner silently, a critical hit from Salma gets us started, followed by twitch shot from Bormin. And then Pharaoh can finish things off with the kill.
Give up now and I'll go easy on ya.
Now, because we stayed silent during all of this, the burner has not noticed us yet,
Regroup now.
which means we can now enter combat again and take them out next.
messing with. Double up!
And with only 20 hit points, this one is of course rather easy.
Oh. Bang!
Over here.
Right, so 2 enemies down and a few more still to go, but not right away.
When I see empty ruins like that, I see treasures that'll make my skin tingle. I also see beasts sleeping from dark holes and eating us. I see things.
And well, we are soon going to find out whether or not any of that is true. The least we can do at this point is to unlock this next area here for fast traveling. It is another one that is entirely optional though, so don't mistake this for a clear sign that our main storyline is going to continue for that much longer. In any case, with the last stand now unlocked, we can return to the Frozen City, where we will in just a moment also have to make a small change to our squad. So far, Borman, Pharaoh and Selma have served us well, but at least in Selma's case it is time to make room for someone new, and that someone would be Magnus. That is, however, not the only change we are making at this point. In addition to that, we are also switching around the weapons of Borman and Pharaoh. So Borman now gets the PC-98 and the Ancient Pistol, and not only that, we will also equip him with an EMP and a frag grenade, which will both come in handy very soon. Pharaoh meanwhile gets the LP-50 as well as a first taste of the Wraith, and with all of those changes made, we can then finally continue our journey. Now for a change, the next 2 enemies on this map are of the robotic kind, which, as you can imagine, is also the reason why we packed that EMP grenade earlier, and of course Magnus is also always very useful against the bots. These robots, however, are in no way affiliated with Goran himself, but in true completionist fashion, we can of course not let them live. To make the most out of the following encounter though, we can once again take the high ground, which will in just a second allow Pharaoh to use her gunslinger for 2 guaranteed critical hits, and this time even without using Wings of the Sniper first.
That's right.
Now we can follow that up with just a single critical against the Enforcer. And because we won't be able to kill these 2 in one turn no matter what we do, let us now play things safe with the EMP grenade. That leaves our enemies stunned and us with plenty of time to take them out, so with Borman immediately up again we can continue to unleash, this time on the regular bot. Pharaoh can then once again take aim at the Enforcer, and a regular hit would be enough here, because finishing the fight will be Magnus with his Chain Lightning, which bypasses the robot's armor and is powerful enough to take them both out.
Advance!
Right, so with that we are pretty much down to the last big group of enemies on this map, which of course also includes Goran. There are a few more things to take care of before we engage them though. Most importantly, we have some loot to acquire and some routes to investigate.
If we need an escape route, I see a hole through those vines.
Okay, so it looks like what lies ahead is currently locked away, and it also looks like Goran is the one holding the key. However, there is yet another exit leading off of this map, and that one we can actually go through right here and now. Before we do though, let's investigate another curiosity.
See that sign? It's the mark of an old tribe called the Police. They hoarded gear and scrap. This could be the big score we're looking for. The Ark needs resources more than ever.
Well, and we might have a good chance of finding those in the area that we are now heading into. Once again though, only to unlock it for fast traveling. Today's episode is still very much focused on Goran, and not so much on exploring, once again, entirely optional areas. So with the promisingly named Valley of Steel now unlocked, let us return to where we came from. And not only that, in just a moment we will actually also hear from Goran for the very first time.
There's no need for hate, or love, or pain, or happiness. I cleanse the poisons of the soul. What was once toxic
Is now pure. What was once many is now one. The Stalkers are not bees who continue to spin. Feed
on the Stalkers' foul flesh and create them anew in my image. Find the Stalkers! Feed them to the tree!
Left the secret settlement and traveled north. Turns out the people from that Ark are as bad as the ones from the old Ark. They accuse me of spreading this ridiculous red vines through their tunnels. I am not a street magician. I am Goran. I don't care about companionship or safety. The roots push me north to the ancient Jyko, and I will rip this treasure from its insides.
So, we have just heard Goran mention a tree, and a certain Jyko was also mentioned in the note we just listened to, and we want to keep all of that in mind as we now engage the Potwolf over here, the only enemy remaining on the map that we can actually take out silently and isolated.
That's your boy Goran, innit? Bit of a messiah complex, you think? Prime bad guy material. Let's take him out.
Again though, before we do that, let's focus on the Potwolf, starting with a critical hit from Magnus. The ancient pistol then still gives Borman enough range to land 2 twitch shot criticals from above. And that is enough for Pharaoh to go for the kill.
Give up now and I'll go easy on ya.
Great work!
On me!
Now at this point there is no way around it, the next fight will include Goran, who as you can see is surrounded by a pot spawner and 2 pot jumpers. With Pharaoh and Magnus already in position, we can then quickly make one last change to Borman, who will exchange the Herpes mask for Grenadier's Delight, giving him those precious extra 2 points of grenade damage. And with that outfit he will now loop around to the other side of the enemies, where he can also find something interesting along the way.
Now, this is something. What do you think the slots on the top are for? Looks like you put your fingers inside.
Now it's ambush time, and it is very important that we actually get close enough to the jumper here, so that we can use Bear Smash without having to dash. Doing so gives Borman another action to use afterwards, and with our enemies even more clustered together than before, we can now use that grenade. Magnus's turn is then actually going to be rather unspectacular. He just takes a simple shot against the spawner, but that is going to be a critical.
Let's get stupid!
And we have most definitely saved the best for last here, because with the LP50 equipped and airborne thanks to Wings of the Sniper, Pharaoh can now land not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 critical hits with her gunslinger ability, which is going to take out all remaining enemies in one beautiful, smooth motion.
Say I am the... You don't know? Say my name. She's like... You
nailed it!
Goran's down, but still breathing. He looks up at us and laughs. I grab his arm. It crumbles like dry leaves. His body disintegrates. A clone, like all the others. The real Goran was long gone. Fed to plants and rebuilt as a servant to some genocidal master. Who's behind this? Behind us, the massive vines begin to hum. The hum turns into a woman's voice.
You surprise me, Stalkers. I thought you were pathetic little outcasts, poisoning the zone with your bullets and bravado. But now, I see it's futile for me to fight such heroes. I go by many names, but you know me as Old Jyko, the legendary tree. I wait for you just north of here. Come, claim your reward.
The truth hits like a zone dog to the nuts, and and it makes perfect sense. The vines, the pods, the minions connected to one system of roots stretching across the zone, leading to one central point, a tree. The mutants, ghouls, and everybody in between. She is known as Old Jyko, the zone's oldest living tree. They say she was here before the zone, before the ancients, maybe before time itself. But trees don't talk. We're faced with two possibilities. Either us Stalkers finally got the rot and our brains are about to explode, or Old Jyko somehow became a hyper-intelligent tree hell-bent on destroying humanity. Do we go north? Do we claim this reward?
This way.
It wasn't Goran. It's Jyko. Old Jyko. That damn tree's intelligent.
Okay, do trees talk where you lot are from? Because they definitely do not talk in my neck of the woods. Especially with a sweet voice like that. Why is she offering us a reward?
We have to visit Old Jyko. See what this tree wants. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth.
Alright, with the Weed Killer achievement unlocked, it looks like we have ourselves a new objective. Having obtained Goran's key, there is actually also nothing standing between us and Jyko at this point, but of course we are not going to finish the series just yet. Instead, we are just traveling there to take a quick look and to unlock the location for fast traveling later. And speaking of later, after we have just unlocked 2 more optional areas here today, and because we also still have 2 side missions from Pripp left to complete, it should take us 2 more episodes until the grand finale. And that one will then be the grand finale for good, as there is unfortunately no more DLC available for this game, so in total we are most likely looking at only 3 more videos. Again though, a friendly reminder that it might take some time until the first one of those goes up, because as you are watching this, I am most likely still or once again traveling, so please don't expect anything before early October. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then I would of course be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.